I make functional pots, or pots, in other words, that are meant to be used to cups, bowls, casseroles, dinner plates, storage jars, all sorts of teapots, coffee pots, pots that are, meant to be used in people's daily routines. The start is making the clay. I mix my own clay, and then I take the clay and I prepare it for the wheel. Then I'll throw the pots. This is a cup. I'm making a cup, and this is a process that's called throwing off the hump. You run that around, pull it through, and then that piece just lifts off, and then you can make the next pot. This is an oriental technique. Rather than making individual little balls for every pot, you just throw them in succession like this. And then with teapots, you throw like the body of the pot, and then the lid, and then the spout, and then you join all these things together. And then once they stiffen a little bit more, I'll glaze them. I make my own glazes too, and then I'll set them aside on this rack that I have back here, and then when everything's dry and I have enough pots to load the kiln holds about 700 pots. It takes about 8 weeks to make enough pots to fill the kiln, and then I'll load the kiln and fire the kiln and then start the whole process over again. So it's kind of a long process.
I do paintings of mostly people or animals, and they tend to be more symbolic than super realistic. I'm doing this chicken right now, and I want it to have this kind of power and, maybe exaggerate the legs. But by the time I'm finished, I started with a drawing, and then I did with oil, just drew the image again. And by the time this is done, this may be completely different, because as I work, I sort of react to what I'm doing, if you know what I mean. It's not real planned. And I've been able to, since I was out of college, continue the discipline of working. And it gives me a lot back. And so I do want to sell it, but if I don't, I'm not crushed. And I just feel like it's about getting better at it. They can buy it from me directly here. They can stop by and, look at what I have. I've got tons of work. People that have got my work say that it's like a story to them, and sometimes the story changes with their life experience or their mood. And that's my hope, is that it's not static, that this may be a chicken, but I hope that maybe they'll have a dream about a chicken, and then they'll look at the painting and they'll say, oh, yeah, that maybe that painting inspired me with that dream. Or I'll have, other people will just say that sometimes the kids will like the color, and they won't be as caught up in the psychological quality of the painting or the meaning necessarily. They'll just like the color, and that gives me pleasure that if a child likes it, I feel they're, unbiased. Or, my favorite thing to do is to draw or paint, because I think it relaxes my mind. And yet I'm putting stuff in this that, it's kind of releasing ideas, and it's very satisfying for that reason, I guess.
I like the variety of the work. I kind of like doing it the old way. I like doing it without electricity and firing with wood, because that's the way all pots were fired before oil came along. I think that it's important that they're nice to look at too, but I think through using the pots is where you get the benefit of handmade things. You just sort of, it's kind of nice to use them.
Neat to see them